Hello everyone, this is Cookies. I've got turn 15 of the second round of Lucid's tournament. You'll have to forgive me if I go through this a little bit faster. It's my third time recording this, so I've been having some audio issues. Alright, so first up we've got Range of Light, or Range of Faith, sorry. Pinging a throne. The only loot here is a hardwood club, besides the throne itself. In Bogaton, we've got a scout ping on the PD, representing TNG's newfound PTSD from Patala PD dumps. And we've got a Marinese force. I'll save you watching this, and they do manage to friendly fire a Royal Guard. So, minus 40 gold from that, but they do take the province. In Range of Light, yeah, Ice Guard received the charge from a few Heavy Cav and take them out, losing 2 Ice Guard. In Patala, we've got a scout ping, and the PD has not changed. Patala is probably a little bit poorer to put more PD above 30 on their capital. So this turn they opted for cap recruitment, which I think is also what I would do. And then man attacking Pyrene. This was the safest move he could have done. You didn't move to kind of like fully raid around the capital. So being very methodical about this. And he's trying to do this without any mages. So aside from his pretender, so being a little bit greedy on that front. But because of that, being a little bit more slow and respecting of his opponent, which I think is solid play. Alright. So this was one where I assumed the cavemen would win, because they bonk so hard. But actually, these Ice Guard show their true quality here. There's no captain getting involved. So some danger potential there when your idiot commander gets involved against 2 cavemen. Gets a limp for his effort and loses half his HP. I wonder if he got limb capped. Yeah, so he got limb capped a bit. So almost lost this battle. Cavemen are very dangerous. Got a little bit of an ugly, or a little bit of an early route, which is what I meant to say. Because cavemen actually have pretty good morale, so they definitely could have stuck around longer. It was definitely not guaranteed, but the Ice Guard held up very well. So loses 10 of the Ice Guard, loses a Seal Hunter. But, I mean, they traded well. They took out 38 of the cavemen. So, in Levendalen, Calum going after Sitis with some Skelly spam. Alright. Then in Silver World, we got a bunch of Earthbound. showing off their fancy death weapons bless to the pale ones. Alright. Let's see, I think that, what's that? What's that? Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit confused after watching these so many times. Then in Moonsea, we got some Ichthids. Ichthid warriors, pretty solid troops. But, I mean, this is another one that could have gone either way. But the Ichthids pull through, so Tianqi gets underwater. Alright, then in Hot Hollows, Atlantis getting into the caves. I really like Koani. I think they're a decent troop for what they do. I'd forgotten that their damage was kind of low though, so they're only at 13 for their club. Maybe that's because I play a little bit more in EA and MA. This dragon's got 21 protection though, so it's not going to give a shit about what these Koani do. This guy's got a couple of fire gems, so he's going to make a fire elemental as well. So yeah, the Koani deal a whole 4 damage to the dragon. One thing they do not have a lot of is morale, so they almost immediately flee. And then this Ice Guard kills the fire elemental because they built in magic attacks. So takes this without losses. Then in Packwoods, we've got Agartha's Throne Battle. So this is going to be our largest battle for this turn. And oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go. No loot to get here. So this is just going to be a lot of crossbow spam. But what Agartha is going to do is utilize the attack rear formation so that his cave knights maintain their formation rather than, because what attack closest, the way it behaves is it's kind of like a arrowhead. So as they march further away, the formation's going to collapse more and more into just a blob. So he's going to have pretty good formations for this particular fight, but otherwise it's just a lot of crossbows. So yeah, Agartha shot the shit out of his own troops with crossbows, and the independent wizard flame bolted 3 of his own independent troops, so a lot of friendly fire in this. But Agartha does take the province and only loses 7, eminently replaceable. In Black Marshes, we have the Tianqi raiding party that's behind the capital. They take out the Atavi chieftain, which is the leadership. Alright. Take no casualties. In Flemistan, we've got Agartha doing a little bit of vulturing on Pyrene. You can see that bunch up effect for attack closest. And I think part of that is because when they target a squad, I think they target the center of the squad, so I think it's doing some sort of, or maybe like the front center of the squad, and so they do some sort of slowest path algorithm to kind of get to that area. It'd be interesting if they assigned like a variety of targets within the squad, or if they prioritized holding a formation and then engaging. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to code that, but we've got I think probably the easiest one to maintain. And let's see, so that was Flemistan. All right, and then in Inarim, we've got some Raven Guard raiding PD. They chose to, they might have been on attack rear, but they didn't quite make it. So they fight all the PD, and a couple of them get killed. And then we've got so assassinations don't show up in my messages list, but blood hunting assassinations do. So this Sorgina was blood hunting in Low Dominion, because that's where these attacks take place. Found some angry peasants, and she is not strong enough to fend them off. Couldn't win the 4v1. Alright. Then we have an upcoming People's Arena battle, which I'm looking forward to. And then the Indies were sniping, or because the independents sometimes just have the absolute best timing to really disrupt people's plans. So here, it looks like Calum and Agartha did not communicate. Agartha was going for the throne. Calum was going for the Citis fort next to the throne. Calum was being careful and scripted their army to retreat while they tried to siege down the throne. They didn't want to lose it to the Agartha stack. But out of all the provinces, there's a group of dogs that attacks. And so we see the Raven Guard flee from dogs. All right, so we got 3 raiding parties of Raven Guard. They all run away. All right. So not sure how many he lost in that retreat, but I imagine he's annoyed. I think the easier thing to me personally is talking to the Agartha player if possible, but I don't know if they just weren't responding or what. All right, Atlantis goes ahead, and so these independents attacked an actual Atlantis raiding group. So they got slaughtered. But then in Barren Crags, I think this is the biggest province, the biggest unforted gem income province for Atlantis at 5 gems. Gets raided by werewolves. And it's only got 1 PD. So, all right, so let's go to the map. So Atlantis loses all this gem income. I think it's 3 earth, 1 astral, 1 nature. He has started fort constructions here and here. So working on that. Got a little bit more income by taking these 2 provinces off of Citis. Or he might have had this one originally, but was sending this stuff up to Vulture Citis, but did Vulture this from Citis. Now, these frozen lands do make this, like, I don't know if Citis is going to get this back because of the, well, I don't know. Chris is cold by a maximum of 2, but it looks like the Dominion effect from Citis was stronger, and so it's heat 3 right now. I mean, it is summer, but I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit colder. So, okay. Now, Atlantis, they've got to kill these werewolves so they can get their gem and come back, but then they've also got to rally enough Ice Guard to get up here and take Cerulean Sea before someone else gets ideas. So Atlantis has the favorable issue of having so many opportunities to expand that they're struggling to reach them all. So, because I imagine, yeah, they pinged this throne, so they're thinking about this throne. They've got vulturing opportunities with Cetis. They could get underground here. They've got these Zots that they want to kill. There's more cavemen for them, though they don't realize it yet. So Atlantis is getting a lot of territory without even having to really fight a first war. Though I would be careful engaging this many troops when... Sorry, voice was given out a little there. I would be careful engaging this many troops in Heat 3 as Atlantis. Because these Ice Guard, they've got ice armor. So they're going to have significantly less protection in Heat 3 than they do in Cold Scales. I think it's going to be like 12. So Cetis will be plenty capable of punching through that protection. Maybe we can see it here. Yeah, so they're at 14 protection. This guy down here is also at 14 protection. So a large Cetis force can absolutely punch through a fair amount of that, and against this many troops, you're probably gonna have a hard time protecting your commanders. But it is worth trying to get some of this vulturing in. Calum now has the scary prospect of wondering if the Agartha army, now that it's taken the Throne of Fortune, is going to go on the Swamp of Solitude. It depends on how aggressive Agartha is feeling. The Throne of Fortune, now a diagonal war, I think, because of the terrain, it's not bad for Agartha. You get more predictable moves in a diagonal war. But Agartha doesn't have follow-on parties coming this way. So it would be hard for them to like prevent Calum raiding. So I think if I were Agartha, yeah, assuming they message each other, it'd be like you can have your swamp here. I'm not going to counter raid you, but I'm going to, definitely keeping this throne and start building the fort here. Because the Throne of Fortune is something both of these players are going to want. Now, he could try to bully Calum out of the Swamp of Solitude, but if he's going to start doing that, he needs to start rotating troops down immediately to be able to defend it. So, and he will want a fair number of troops down here to help defend it against Calum raiding, because all these Raven Guard could absolutely just start stealthing into Agarthan lands. We got a Raven Lord here, Raven Lord here. No Raven Lord here, so these troops are going to have to get picked up. But, yeah. Not sure if I would be wanting to fight Calum just yet. Alright, but yeah, Cetis is in a really tough spot. So they've got these 3 Marignan forces, they've got vulturing Calum forces, they've got vulturing Atlantean forces. They're not going to be able to defend everything the way that they are, probably. Oh. Well, maybe he will. This is pretty funny. So he's done 2 PD50 dumps. I didn't even notice this in the first 2 recordings. Oh man. Somebody's going to be in for a rude surprise if they attack this and there's 50 PD. Good grief. Okay. And then this one's got Tomb Chariots and Poison Slingers on the cap. Now, this farmland with probably a majority, not a majority, but a lot of his income does not have a PD dump. But yeah, I would say the majority of Satissa's gold this game has gone into fort constructions and PD dumps, it looks like. I mean, we're not really seeing mages here. We've got a Hierodual. We've got maybe like a Sauromancer here. He's lost 4,000 gold in fort constructions, 800 gold in a fort upgrade, assuming he loses this fort. So Atlantis is about to cut off Scraw Point and then dip into the cave. They might try and push further north, but I mean, it could work. Ice Guard could potentially maybe kill the bird. But yeah, it's a very dangerous environment when you're getting kind of like 3v1s like this. The best you can do is just try to bleed people out and diplo against them. So like, but I don't know who you diplo. You're getting attacked by this neighbor, and this neighbor. So your natural allies are on the diagonals. Pyrene is dying. Man is attacking Pyrene. Patala is dying. And Tianchi is attacking Patala. So I don't think there's going to be any help coming. And I think Sitis is just kind of getting voted off here. I mean, unless Agartha just like starts a war with Calum over this fort. And then that would likely pull a bunch of Raven Guard away. But then you're going to have their forces fighting back and forth over nominally your lands. So it's a very tough spot, but I like that he's laid these traps for vulturing opponents. I think I just would have chose different spots for them. I would have chosen this fort potentially, but maybe he likes the PD types here and here. But when this gets put under siege and Scraw Point gets taken, it's going to lose like 200 gold from down there, 140 gold there, 330 gold there, and the recruitment from this. So it would be good to keep this fort open if possible. All right, and then for the Tianchi Patala front, I think Tianchi has two options. They could take a very dangerous fight on Patala's capital to try and lock down the cap again. Because they don't have as many barb-heavy horsemen as they did last time. They do have more crossbows, but I think the crossbows can friendly fire his own barb-heavy horsemen as much as they shoot the enemy. Getting the tiger involved is good. I think what I would do, and I'm curious if he ends up doing it, is I would bring this raiding party in to Cassian Forest and raid Cassian Forest with this group. I mean, it would be nice to take Hamain, because it would get you another like 120 or 140 gold, you know, given some unrest. But I think it's important to present numbers near Patala first. So getting a bunch of stuff in Cassian Forest would be good. I don't know about PD dumping Surmiak. I think Tianchi should be spending their gold on troops to go take Patala's stuff. Not trying to lay traps for Patala. But since you've gone ahead and laid this trap, you could send all these cavalry down to Surmiak. I mean, you could try to knock out the PD dump in Dendra, but I think you want to start collecting all your stuff. So maybe these cavalry come down to Surmiak, but then you're... Because Patala's No, that was a Marignan scout. I don't know. I don't like this PD dump because it's too static and it basically forces you to attack from this direction. I think with TNG you want to be pretty mobile. So I think I'd combine here and I'd send these troops to attack Dendra and see if I could knock out this 34 PD dump. I believe he pinged it a couple of turns ago. So he should know that it's there, which is good. And then he's got more stuff that can come out of the capital. I mean, if this stuff can reach, maybe you take all this stuff and just funnel it into Sermiak. And maybe this group just comes down here and attacks Hemain. And then with everything here, now you make your move on the capital, but that's going to be another turn of Patala recruitment as well. But gotta try and put this capital under siege again. Gotta stop their recruitment and get your own rolling a little bit harder. Yeah, like fort upgrades, I'm not sure if I'd be doing a lot of fort upgrades right now. They're nice, but you've got a ton of foreign recruit you can do, and you need troop numbers to put down Patala. Well, this is a very nice number of gems, 5 gems, nice. So I think I've just got a little bit different style, but I am curious to see what the TNG player does. I do like seeing their messages though, because it does a lot for displaying how they're thinking. I think right now they're stung by the couple of defeats Patala did earlier, where Patala kind of predicted the most painful moves possible that they could do to TNG. And then TNG's also made a couple of mistakes, but it's still TNG favored. They've got more territory than Patala does. A lot of Patala's stuff is rated to hell, so it's not providing as much income. Although, yeah. So even if they retake Emmerich. So yeah, I'd get down here, raid this, maybe. And just recruit a lot. Stop building infrastructure while you're in the middle of a war where it's, where you want to get a lot of troops so that you can siege this fort down and also so you can take out their army. Because you do want to end this war somewhat quickly. Because then, you might end up with some opportunities elsewhere. So, and you don't want to be caught too distracted with too much attrition, because you've been sending smaller armies and smaller armies attrit more. I mean, normally pretty frequently. Because if Calum is like, okay, I'm done vulturing Satis now, and then maybe they look at you and they're like, well, this TNG can't even kill this Patala. What if I just attack TNG? Then you're in a really tough spot. So I think you want to be in a strong position with a strong army on Patala's cap, and then you're building new forces in TNG proper, and that would dissuade like Calum coming to Elfview or something. So yeah, I think you're in a war. Go for the jugular, go for the win. Stop getting quite as distracted. But different people play differently. I find I tend to be critical of slow and methodical approaches, but I mean they do have their own merits. You often take less attrition, you run into fewer traps. So yeah, but it's just my personal play style. So hopefully people are okay with that. And then here we've got Man. Now Man is being very careful, but Man's also not bringing any mages aside from his Pretender, kind of like TNG. But also Man hasn't really taken any attrition yet. He just keeps building more and more troops in his homeland. he's also upgrading his fort, but he needs forts to actually recruit. So what I do think he should have done is retaken this forest by now. So, I mean, you've got a fair number of troops around here. You should be able to retake this. And then, now the decision for Man is he's kind of in the position where he's got to risk something soon. So, and this army being back here, so this, I think, represents a trap for Pyrene. He's hoping Pyrene attacks out, and he's able to predict where and counter it. So, or it's to support Veil of Valor, and then the boar is going to go ahead and take something. So I think what I would do is I would leave this group here, because I'm not sure if you can properly secure this. I would send the boar and the Toledo group to Sleepy Mountains. Though Pyrene may be able to map move 2 to here. They do have 16 map move. But you got to trust your boar to be able to kill a fair number of Cambion Knights. Maybe the Toledo group comes back to Solkar and you try to solo with the boar. But, maybe the troops are helpful, and if the boar routes, the boar routes. The Nilmeria army probably goes into Veil of Valor or Starlet Paladin Step. You could keep the boar here, send the army here, meet up with this group, and now you've got a very strong contingent here. But I don't... yeah, maybe bring the Toledo group back to Solkar. And then that presents a very strong threat here. And if you wanted, you could send both the boar and your full army into Ionia. And my guess is this group would pull back to the capital, and then you could go on the cap. Something like that, but we'll see. He might be also slowly trying to dom kill Pyrene. So we've got a couple of high priests. He might have just gotten these from an event, though. Maybe not. So I think he's trying to preach out candles for his boar. And that's another reason for the slow, methodical approach. All right, and then we've got... we did talk about Sitis. All right, so I think that's everyone. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. It is my 3rd time recording, so my memory is a bit jumbled at this point. But yeah, hope you guys are enjoying this. I want to, because they've been sending a lot of messages, maybe I'm a little bit biased towards TNG, but I want to see them close out this war. Get a... because I think it also helps a lot for confidence in a game when you get your first big victory. Like, even if it was favored towards you, just getting that first victory on the board feels good and gives you a big confidence boost. So I think for TNG, it was taking the capital when Patala moved away from his capital. That was a big confidence boost. But then Patala outplayed him for a couple of turns. And so now he's pretty shaken. If he gets another big win, I think he'll feel a lot better. But, yeah, I think that's it. And I will see you guys in the next one on turn 16. Have a good one. Bye.